All right, welcome to the 59th, I'm sorry, 49th. I already screwed up and we are 30 seconds into the show. This is only the 49th episode. This is not like a Back to the Future type thing. The 49th episode of Dad's and Ed. I am pleased to be joined. Well, you know what? Let me introduce myself. This is like, normally it's like 5 minutes into the show. We go off the rails, and I have managed to do that here within the first 30 seconds. So,
good work.
Yeah, that's why I get paid the big bucks. I am pleased to be joined. Josh Allen, instructional tech specialist, something or other, in beautiful eastern Nebraska, western Iowa. It is a picture-perfect day. I got new propane today, ready to grill out tomorrow night. It's just absolutely beautiful. So, 3 wonderful kids, another one coming in August, and a wonderful wife. So now I am pleased to be joined. Devin, would you like the 4th member of Dad's and Ed to go next?
Only if she chooses to. She's kind of.
I took like a little bit of a spring vacation.
Oh, yeah. A break from doing your job or what you were choosing to do. All right, go for it.
Okay.
See if you got the chops anymore.
What? Okay. So it was a beautiful day as well for us. We played on the trampoline all day. Okay. I always guess this, but you're a K-12 instructional technology coach, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And this is my dad. I have a sister, and I have a mom, and me.
Yes. A sister and a mom and a me. That's what we have. So
It's good to have yourself.
And two idiot dogs.
2 idiot dogs.
Oh, that's
good. At least you didn't say an idiot dad. That would have been better. So
Okay.
yeah. So there you go. That was Claire doing about as good a job as she does introducing me. It's like she doesn't even know who I am. It's like I'm not her actual father. It's not good. So that was Claire, my other daughter Grace, and my wonderful wife Erin, who just got off she teaches a class online, so I had to kick her off the computer because this was more important. So. Brent.
All right, Brent.
Hello, gentlemen. Brent Catlett here from Independence, Missouri, in the Kansas City metro area, Director of Technology for Independence School District. And I have 5 children. I'm getting a doctorate. I've recently become the president of KC TechNet, or at least formerly known as that. And I can't think of something. I had something else and I forgot. I was going to try to throw that in there. But so keeping myself nice and busy, and married to my beautiful wife Josie, and looking forward to tonight's conversation with Eliu Paopao.
Nice. All right. Well, if you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can tweet at us at Dads and Ed. You can use the hashtag Dads and Ed. I'm going to skip the email part. No one ever emails us, which is fine. If you missed part of the show, dadsanded.podbean.com. You can subscribe on iTunes. We are a member of the prestigious EduPodcast Network.
Mm-hmm.
All of our stuff goes there, so you're more than welcome to check it out there. And I think that's it. So, as most of you know, last night was the announcement of the NCAA tournament bracket. That either occurred over a 2-hour period for those of you that were watching on TV, or it got tweeted out at 6:30 by some random person who had it right, which the NCAA is vigorously investigating, probably because CBS told them to, because they stole their viewers. However, we are not going to take the time to go through a 68 tournament field because this is we try to keep it under an hour. So what we would like to do is I would like to know from each of you, who is your lock to make it to Houston in the Final Four? You can, if you just want to do one, if you think you can lock all 4 of them, that'd be great. My lock is going to be Michigan State. 2nd seed. I think they got a fairly easy bracket compared to some of the other ones, and I think they're fairly solid. I think Tom Izzo is a phenomenal coach. I think he'll have them ready to go, and that is my lock to make it to Houston. Anyone else want to take a
I'm
stab?
going to go with Locke, North Carolina, because I love them, and I'm voting with the heart. And I'm going to go sleeper Purdue.
Ooh.
It's not bad.
Sleeper Purdue.
It's not bad. I've got 8 teams.
8 teams, all locked to make the Final Four.
I don't know how that's going to work, but I've got 8 locks for the Final Four. That's going to be pretty awesome. Now, if I'm going with a lock, I hate it. I don't like it, but I think Kansas is about as good a lock as there is. Now, that being said, I think they have the hardest of the 4 regions. Lots of good teams in that region. I mean, they have Cal and Maryland in their half of the bracket, let alone Miami, Villanova on the other side of the bracket. So I think Kansas. I think my sleeper, and I don't know how much of a sleeper they are. Certainly not as a seed as low as Purdue. What's Purdue? 4 or 5, somewhere in there.
5.
5. West Virginia. I think West Virginia can cause a lot of problems in the tournament with the way they play defense and the way they get after you, shoot the ball pretty well. And when you're playing teams on short notice and you don't have a lot of time to prepare for that style that Huggins and West Virginia plays, I think West Virginia as a 3 seed is a pretty good bet. Although they'd have to go through Carolina to get there.
Very true. I was going to look. Friend of the show, former guest, Rob Lindquist, tweeted us earlier today. I think there were 3 Big Ten schools. Oklahoma, KU, not Iowa State, which would have been a homer pick for him. What was the other one?
West Virginia?
Maybe?
Oregon goes down early. I'll call
You
it.
think?
Yeah, even though I student managed for Dana Altman, ain't happening.
I think they could make it to the Elite 8.
Yeah, West Virginia was the other one.
The upper half of that bracket isn't great. I think Oregon could make it and play Oklahoma. That'd be a fun game.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma could be tough.
I have Oklahoma going to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went back and forth between Carolina and Kentucky. Kentucky being ranked below Texas A&M, that's like a gift to John Calipari.
Did you see his interview on ESPN?
That was fantastic.
That was so good.
I mean, you beat a team and then you get seeded lower than them. Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, speaking of brackets, I don't know where I shared this today. I shared it somewhere, but there was a great sports personalities bracket, most annoying sports personalities bracket today that I saw. I can't remember where I shared it, but that was pretty good too. If you're into the whole bracket thing, and especially around this time of year, had all of them seeded 1 through 16. There were 64 sports personalities, media personalities. It was great. I thought it was awesome.
I think that the tournament Thursday and Friday, usually at the first, the opening rounds, it should be a holiday. We should get off just like President's Day and or others. That's what
I would agree.
I mean, how many offices and places of business are basically distracted by the games and a lack of productivity is taking place, or people calling in sick and taking vacation days anyway, and I mean. I can't wait until I'm older and retired and I can just spend time doing nothing but soaking up March Madness. I'd love to go to Vegas. I think has 3. Did I hear 3 conference tournaments? I forget which conferences they are, but they're all in Vegas. At the same time. It's like the Big West, the Big Sky, or something. And I forget. There's 3 of them out there.
Mountain West, I think, was there.
Yeah,
maybe WAC.
Yeah, so
conference.
How would it be just to go out there for those conference tournaments and hang out, and then go somewhere for the opening rounds and just do the whole thing, have this map of where you want, you're gonna go and get some tickets, and I would. That's like a bucket list item for me.
Yeah, essentially, up until I had kids, I mean, even when I was in school, I always took those days off. When I was in school, my mom would let me stay home and We get all kind, I get frozen pizzas and frozen foods and throw them in the oven and sit and watch basketball all day. And then I had a principal tell me once, and not in the way that he was, I wasn't in trouble, but I was talking about being gone for those days, and he just said, "Don't become a creature of habit." So maybe his little bit of a warning to say, maybe you should.
But if it's a personal day, it's one thing if it's a personal day. It's another thing if you call in sick on the Thursday and Friday afternoon.
I always get a cold around this time. You can hear it, right? You can hear it in my voice right now. I get a little cold.
My allergies are killing me, and it happens at the same time every year.
Yeah. Now, I guess what would be worse, so once I wasn't, staying home from that, I was watching the games in my room. Not sure what was getting done in my classroom. We were all eating popcorn and watching basketball, so.
Absolutely.
Paopao tweeted in his Final Four. He's got Kansas, Oklahoma, West Virginia, and Michigan State.
Same as Rob.
I like it. I don't think I like West Virginia, and I know what you said, Devin, and I agree with it. I just don't think Bob Huggins' teams are disciplined enough to make it 4 weeks in a row or 4 wins in a row.
That's certainly.
That's the only thing that concerns me. And it's a tough bracket too, like you said.
Yeah, I just gotta say though, I just think Kansas seems to always find a way to choke.
I agree.
So I've lived and basically died with them yearly in my bracket, and so I've kind of taken this philosophy with them that I don't pick them because they seem to always ruin my bracket.
I hemmed and hawed about that one as well.
And they're a tough team, don't get me wrong. Great coach.
Right.
Always have fantastic athletes, but for whatever reasons, and I know they've had championships too, but man, it just seems like every time I get behind them, they kill me.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of the difference maybe this year. They are much more experienced and senior laden this year than maybe they have been in some of those games in the past, some of those years in the past. They've got quite a few seniors and quite a few guys who have been around. I mean, Perry Ellis has been there since 1984. They've got plenty of guys that have been playing. It's not a young team. They have some freshmen. They have some young guys, but it's not a young team.
Mm-hmm.
So Nathan Kleinmeyer chimes in. We're talking about watching the game. He says, I remember our PE teacher putting the TV on a chair beside the school pool during the swimming unit to watch the tourney. There are so many things wrong with that. I mean, number one, you have electricity next to a pool. You probably should be paying attention to what's going on, more so than what the game is. It's kind of, it's one thing if it's dodgeball. There's not a really high likelihood. I mean, someone might get hurt a little bit. But during a swimming unit, kids can drown pretty easily because they're in water.
Yeah. They can't swim by then.
That's part of the summative assessment is I'm going to be watching the tournament. You better be able to save yourself or else you fail the course.
That's right. It's all part of the learning process.
Oh, man.
It was one of the standards for the unit. I'm sure they had it.
It is a performance assessment.
That's right. It's a survival unit.
I got to shout out Brett Plater, who tweeted me and said, just an FYI that Bingham will be working hard during opening round of the NCAA tournament. He's a principal in my district. He didn't put it to Ed, but I got to assume he's listening perhaps right now or watching. So got to shout him out. So I appreciate him watching. And I tweeted him back, said, of course they will be. I mean, God forbid they would have some fun. No, I'm just kidding. But, I'm still saying it should be a holiday, and we should have Thursday and Friday off.
I would agree.
Friday, and I'll be good.
I'm with you. I'm in.
All right. Dad moment of the week. So my daughter, who's 5, takes dance on Monday nights, and routinely she likes to have me take her. Since I got a new car, that is even more cool to have Dad. It's now cool to hang out in Dad's car, whereas before it was not. So tonight I'm sitting being a dance dad in the little waiting room area, and another guy who I teach with comes in, and we're sitting there talking, and I was kind of oblivious that like all these people are around us, and I said something about how she always asks me to come and take her, and he goes, "Why aren't you in there teaching?" I go, "You know what? I've told her every week that I would be more than happy to come in and teach some moves and all this." And like 5 or 6 parents around me start laughing, and I'm like, "Oh, I guess we're not having this little one-to-one conversation like I thought." So I need to do a better job if I'm going to be sitting in the dance room of knowing what it is that I say. My daughter gets highly embarrassed when I say that I'm going to come teach dance for some reason. I don't really know why. I don't get it, but whatever. Brent, what do you got?
You know, I'm going to change it up on you guys. Bill Little, friend of the program, works in my technology department with myself. Told me about a Dads and Ed moment that he had, so I want to share his. I'm gonna forgo mine and give it up for Bill. So Bill has a young son. He also has some older children as well, but his youngest recently asked him to go along on a field trip with him, and his wife was going to be going as well, but he was really excited because his son asked him to ride on the school bus with him, like in the same seat. So he was really excited about that. I believe the trip was to Jeff City, as I recall, and forgive me, Bill, for not remembering, but it was a lengthy trip for them as part of their studies of the state capitol or something like that. But he was really excited and wanted me to share that, and so I said I would. So
Very cool.
yeah.
That is pretty cool. I mean, if you're going to ride the torturous bus for that long, at least you have good company to sit next to. Paopao just mentioned that I could maybe pull up Go Noodle and use that for my dance routine.
You could. That would be something.
Jim York, friend of the show, tweets in that they have teachers who took Thursday and Friday off in the past. I'm not sure if he doesn't know that they're going to take more off this week. This week. You know, Jim, you should know someone who could just shut down school. Anyway, Devin.
I'll do. We were supposed to have had last Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off for some sort of spring break, and snow days took away 2 of those days. So we had a weird week where we had Monday, Tuesday, and then we had Wednesday off, and then we had school Thursday, Friday. Last Tuesday was Claire's birthday, so we spent all day Wednesday painting her room and she got a new bed and stuff for her birthday. So the nice thing was she was all about being up there to help. It's amazing when they're getting something new, how clean that room can stay, and how much they want to be up there and picking things up and doing some work when they're getting new stuff. But no, it was kind of a fun day. It was a long day of doing that all day, and it was our only day of spring break. And so that, my friends, is I think what you call your parental duties.
That's right. That does make for a long day. It is nice when they can help you. My kids are still of the age that I don't want them to help. It makes more work for Dad.
Yeah, we told Claire while we were doing this. I remember the time, I can't remember how old she was, but I was painting the hallway stairs. We have a staircase that goes up right when you come in the house, and she dumped, by accident, an entire can of paint all the way down the stairs. That was not fun to try and clean up, but she did not do that this time, so that's good.
That's bad. Yeah, that's a lot of money, too.
It was...
Not just the cleanup, but the paint.
It was something.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a guest in the house, so we need to spiff ourselves up, class up the joint a little bit. We are so excited to be joined by a good friend of ours, even prior to the show, Eliu Paopao. Fortunately, he lets us call him Paopao, so we don't totally murder his other names. So, my friend, welcome to the show. Give our listeners a little introduction about yourself.
Well, hey, millions of fans of Dads and Ed, international and national.
Give or take a few million there.
My name is Eliu Paopao, and obviously, Josh just mentioned that I like to be called Paopao, and just for the simple reason that I'm not a John or a Bob or a Will, So. But I am the director of technology here at Chadron Public Schools in Chadron, Nebraska. Here in the Panhandle of Nebraska. So I am approximately about 7.5 hours west of Josh Allen. So, yep.
We actually found out. So another friend outside the show, Toby Brown, who lives down in Oklahoma City. Toby and Paopao both came to Omaha one day at the same time, and as they were sitting around chatting, discovered that Paopao actually lives farther away from Omaha than Toby does, and Toby is 2 states away.
That's right. That's right. That was the first ed camp that I was at. Was where we discovered that. Yep.
Oh.
Fun times.
We may talk about Ed Camp later. I'm a little tease.
So, Paopao, tell us a little bit about how does a guy from Samoa end up in Chadron, Nebraska?
It's kind of a long story. And to shorten it, my dad is actually an alumni of Chadron State College. He went to school here in 1967, graduated in 71. So him and a bunch of Samoans, who were in the military at the time, decided, while their stint was up, they would get their education here in Chadron. And at the time, Chadron and another college, I think it's Union College there in the eastern side of Nebraska, were the only two colleges who were recruiting back on the island. So, it was kind of fate as well. I attended Valparaiso University before, just ended up not liking it. It's too fast paced. Too many people, so to speak. So Chadron was just a perfect fit. I already had family here, and it's they go on what we call island time.
Well, I want to do a quick follow up because one of my favorite stories that you've ever told really shows how dumb some people are, especially like Americans. Tell us about your freshman English course that you got to sit through.
So just being, I'm actually a U.S. citizen. I was born in Hawaii, and American Samoans are U.S. nationals. And when I was attending, my class, my professor automatically pegged me as English as a second language speaker, which it is a second language to me.
And let's be clear, so for the people that are listening on the podcast who obviously cannot see you, you look Samoan. You have, the darker skin. It's not like you look pale white like, say, myself.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a typical Samoan stature, 5'9", 5'10", 6'4" on my good days, about 300 pounds, and so I walk into class, he automatically pegs me as this guy's going to have a hard time, difficulty, paying attention to class or following the rules. So he differentiated. I appreciated that. He differentiated his curriculum just for me. But not once did he ask, whether or not I knew English or spoke English. So here are my colleagues, and my classmates doing, 5, 7, 9-page papers, and he, does my assignment with, a 2-page paper, just basically giving me the out. And all semester long, we go through this. I never spoke a single word in class. Come down to the final paper. He assigned me a 5-page final paper. I go to submit it. I hand it in, and I said, hey, Dr. So-and-so, I'm not going to mention his name. I really appreciate your class. I really appreciate everything you do for me. Just want to say that, have a good rest of the year. And his jaw just dropped. I kind of turned around and walked away, and I'm glad I came out with an A. So, so yeah, it just goes to show, as educators, we need to be vigilant and just question our students, and that's all. We should just keep doing it all the time. Curiosity, if you answer it right away, you just will never know.
Paopao, I known you now for a while, and I've always respected, your as a tech director, what you've done up there for your district and just what you've brought to the table for that district. But Josh and Devin have taxed me with a tough question here. So your Twitter profile says that you're a wannabe fisherman, and we're just wondering what exactly does that mean?
Well, I own 5 fishing poles. I'd like to say that most of the time that I use it, but I'll be lying. Most of the time I kind of force it upon my sons to do the fishing part while I kind of sit back and figure out how the heck to tie this fly, or how to get the bait and lure on. Honestly, coming from an island, you would have thought that I would have known how to fish, but you give me a spear, I might do better. I might probably do a 5 out of 10. But a fishing pole, we'll be lucky if we come out with a bluegill about the size of my palm. But the boys enjoy it. I love taking them out. That's what I mean by a wannabe fisherman. It's not because I enjoy fishing, but my boys enjoy being outdoors. We enjoy being at the ponds or wherever we go to fish, and it's up to them whether we fish or not. But that's one of their summertime activities is fishing. So a good tip for fishing though, is make sure you never leave your live bait in the back of your truck on a hot summer day, especially when your truck has a cover. Never fun to open that up and you get a whiff of nice earthworm or so yeah, but yeah, I want to be fisherman. I enjoy it because my sons enjoy it. So
I did install a fishing pole rack because, like you, I have 5 or 6 fishing poles, but they look really nice hanging up in my garage, and actually that's where I know where to stop when I pull my car in. So
you mean you don't have the tennis ball string,
no,
right there?
I don't need it because my fishing poles don't ever leave that wall, so it works out well. Hey, to get over to the educational side a little bit, you mentioned you're the tech director. With your staff up there in Chadron, if if there's a new tool that's out or a new technology philosophical idea, what are some things that you look for before you turn that loose to staff or before you take up their time and share with them?
Well, you mentioned a key point there. It's time. And on top of time is professional development. So it's always crucial for me with the staff of just myself and my assistant. It's crucial for us to kind of verify and justify the time that's going to take for the teachers to learn a tool or an application, whatever the case may be. Ultimately, we try not to find tools that take too long and tools that'll frustrate our teachers. We've got a high percentage of veteran teachers here in Chadron, those who put in the work, put in the years. And as much as we come out and say, hey, these are the new tools, this is a new method, this is a new strategy we're going to apply, that's great and fine, but we have to keep in mind, the personal level with those staff members. It's not to say that they haven't done anything wrong, but some of that veteran teaching, some of those, traditional methods still apply and still work. But that being said, I always encourage them that they need to try this, and if they break it, hey, that's job security for me. That's why I'm there. I'm there to help them out as much as I can, and to provide the help that they need. And we go with all sorts of professional development ideas here. We've done the Google Hangouts. I've gone even the face-to-face, or we've gone paper pencil as well. Sometimes illustrations help my teachers, and that's just the way they learn. Every single staff member is different. Every single staff member applies it on their own level. So that being said, if we're going to adopt a tool, I have to get the support of my administrators, because ultimately it's them that support me in saying, hey, this is justified, this is going to work for us. But I seldom ask my teachers or tell my teachers or direct them to say, you need to use this. It has to work with them. Okay, it just needs to, because if they're not in support of it, then it's just going to frustrate them even more. And that I don't want to see. I mean, we're doing such great things here at Chadron with the help of technology. It's there to streamline their processes throughout the day, and at the end of the day, if the student walks out inspired and learning something, I think we're doing something good. To step up the game, yeah, we certainly want to do that. And to do that, you need the support of your administrators to kind of push that through. And without that push, I'm a lone ranger, and that's not going to help me any. Especially when dwindling budgets in all our schools here in Nebraska, and that goes nationwide. I mean, I saw the hashtag Go Open with the whole initiative with open books and whatnot. That's great. Our administrators, started tweeting that out, started sharing that with staff members. We're obviously trying to look for ways to kind of be consistent and with our curriculum and introduce new technology with cost effectiveness in mind. So,
Papa, your wife is in education as well, and you're kind of self-taught in the sense of what I remember the first time I met you at NETA, so you've always attended there. That's a place you've learned and grown. I'm kind of curious if you could tell the audience, how you've positioned yourself to, is it coming from your wife, or is it attending things like NETA? Is it, Twitter? Where do you learn and grow, and kind of how have you kind of grown into this position? Because it's not necessarily something I think you sought out, but it kind of came into your, lap.
Yeah, the position kind of fell into my lap. I worked for a colleague of mine who works alongside me. He's now my assistant network administrator. So he had a business. We worked on building websites. We worked on fixing computers and building computers for businesses around town and whatnot. Ultimately, when this opened up, I saw it as a challenge. Not knowing where to go with education per se, I knew exactly what an educator would do from a teacher standpoint with all the conversations I had with my wife. But then going into it, it was a completely different mindset. And you've heard this from millions of other tech directors. They came in with the mindset of blocking everything, and that's what I was used to. I wanted to block everything. I didn't want any student to be opening up YouTube, no matter what their just cause was. So just going from that and then attending my first NETA, which was held at I think it was the Holiday Inn, was it, Josh? I think it was on Grover Street. I'm not quite sure.
That's right, Holiday Inn.
Yep. But I attended my first NETA and just kind of getting a first taste of what's out there in regards to my position. Obviously, a lot of it was software, hardware, and at that point in time, there was little in offering leadership or direction in benefiting the students and the teachers. So in order for me to kind of be proactive and do the things we're supposed to do in education, I just immersed myself in the direction in the groups of administrators, in the groups of teachers, in the groups of curriculum directors, in the groups of people who are on social media. I adopted Twitter in 2010, I would say, but never really gotten around to using it. And at that point in time, I just didn't think it was worth my time. I had more important things in my head. I had more important things that I needed to tend to. That being said, it didn't take very long for me to adopt Twitter as my professional learning network. And honestly, and I thought I was great at that time coining the term twerker, right? A Twitter lurker, but obviously that didn't work out thanks to Miley Cyrus. But at that time, I was lurking on Twitter.
I would love to see you walk into a high school and say that you're a twerker. That would be hilarious.
But that being said, it really opened my eyes. Social media, especially Twitter, as my PLN. I've gotten to know people like Brent, and who actually developed one of our courses. Helped me, and inspired me to develop one of our courses in regards to Twitter. It was him and his crew, Ann Feldman, and Jenny there at Bellevue. It was his crew that decided to take that on, and myself and a couple of my colleagues here, we joined in on that fun, and we saw the benefit of it, and we tried to share that with our staff and our folks here at Chadron. So getting into this position was I would say pretty easy because I like tech. The hardship of this position is certainly professional development. But my strengths in that is being laid back, just being acceptive of who the people are that you work with, and never think that a person is out to get you. Their frustrations, they show frustrations because it's something that they're not used to, and we have to realize that as tech people, we have to realize that, and we have to try and accommodate, but at the same time, give them those baby steps to move forward. So. But yeah, I don't know if that completely answers your question, Brent.
Yeah, thinking along those kind of same lines, Papa, I wonder if you could, just for, I know you mentioned that you're in the Panhandle of Nebraska. Could you, how big is Chadron?
So the town itself, it's about 5,000 people. When school year is rolling, we got the college kids, which brings in about another 4,000 kids, students. So it is a pretty busy town.
Yeah. And so when you get out there, so you're talking about this idea of professional development. You've mentioned using Twitter and other social media for your PLN. When you get kind of out that way, there's not a heck of a lot around. In terms of big cities. I see that the NETA show. You talk about events like NETA, where people and teachers are able to come and kind of learn with each other, or an ed camp or something like that. And some of that gets harder. Can you talk a little bit about the Cardinal Tech Day that you've been putting on in Chadron and trying to give opportunities for staff to learn about some of these things with other people?
Yeah, so every October, and we're very smart now in producing our calendars to ask the folks at NETA, when is fall NETA going to fall, so that we can schedule our in-service date around it. So this upcoming fall, the week before will be fall NETA. The week after, we're going to have our in-service. But that was something that I kind of sat down and just talked with some of the teachers, and they ultimately decided, we need to have some sort of a tech offering close by. We call them thoroughbreds here in Chadron. Our best teachers, we call them thoroughbreds. They're the Clydesdale of Budweiser, so to speak. But those teachers are the ones that brought that up to my attention, and ultimately I wanted to offer not only my expertise but their expertise as well. I'm not the only professional here. I don't think I'm a professional at all. It's still a learning process. We quote educators as lifelong learners. So, at the very end, of our careers, we can then call ourselves professionals. But till then, we're lifelong learners. But the Cardinal Tech Day happens every October, and it's sessions that are offered by our teachers here, our computer teachers, business teachers here. All our professionals here, they offer whatever they want to offer, as long as they're presenting it using technology and whatnot. We can call it a part of the Cardinal Tech Conference Day, so it's been very successful for us. I think last year we had, I want to say about 28 offerings, different sessions and whatnot. So it was a busy day, and we've had several districts, around us, try to promote the idea of, practically paying to get involved. But I am a little selfish, I'm a little selfish in the fact that I want to make sure my staff gets what they want, before we offer it out there. And I think at some point in time, the Cardinal Tech Day would become an offering, to other districts. But I want to take care of my staff first, because if we open it up, it's just going to be more legwork for everybody else, causing more frustration, and things like that. At the end of our conference day, If our staff member walks away with at least one tool, one application that they can hone their skills in and make sure that they use it in their, in their classrooms to benefit their students, I've won. I would say that 8-hour day for me has been very successful. If they walk away without anything, then there's always room for improvement on my part. And like I said, you have to do it to be able to get the feedback that you need, so that you can move forward and provide the necessary PD for your staff.
Mm-hmm.
As you think about, you talked a lot about your evolution of, your as a tech director, but as you have added kids to your life, has that, what impact, I don't want to say has that because I think it probably has, how has that impacted your kids, how has that impacted how you do your job now?
When I first started, my wife was pregnant with our first child. And I had to say, walking into this position, there's obviously lots to learn, and as well as as in regards to hardware, as well as software. So I spent long nights. I mean, you can ask my wife. Sometimes I'd be up here, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just to come back in at 6, 7 o'clock, and that was my life for that first year, until we had our firstborn son, and that came along, and priorities quickly changed, and that I want to say, that it's very important to try and do your work, but at the same time you have to make sure that you've got the time to yourself as well. My sanity is from my kids. My insanity comes from being frustrated at work. So making sure that you can juggle both and know that you're juggling it well, is something that I still strive for. Time management on my part, it could be better, but at the same time I want to make sure that my family's happy, and my staff is happy, and that my work is, moving forward and being proactive. And I want to say that fatherhood is at that same tone as well. So yeah, it's a great thing to have, because at first I look forward to meeting my wife at home, having supper and whatnot, but now noon hits and I yearn for my kids' voice, and I look forward to that every 4:30 rolls around. I make sure that I gotta get home. I gotta make sure the boys are there. We do our stuff, because it's a short time. 4:30 to 7:30. When they have supper and take their baths, and then it's back into bed. That's not a whole lot of time to be a dad. But ultimately, you want to push that through, and make sure that you're doing all you can. I sometimes, take lunches, and instead of having lunch here at the office or at home, I take my boys out for lunch. Probably something unhealthy like McDonald's, but it's what they want, and they see it as good quality time with dad. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's a great thing. I don't think there's anything I would regret, in regards to fatherhood. And I don't know if you guys still do the accounts to follow, but I just started following All Pro Dads.
Yep.
And they got Tony Dungy as one of their spokespeople, and that's a great follow for me. I get those motivational stories, and it assures me that I'm not the only one with those type of problems, and those type of frustrations. It happens to everybody, and that's the best thing we can do is strive to be good dads. And I see this and I hear this, with all of your, podcasts. Your podcasts, I download them. I wait for my long trips, to eastern Nebraska, because it's what motivates me to become a better person, not only as a dad, but as an educator. You guys do phenomenal work, and I tell you guys that every time I see you. So I'm looking forward, I'm plugging this in, Josh, to Ed Camp this weekend, March 19th. So if I can make the 7.5, 8-hour drive, so can everyone else. Right?
Way to call them out. I appreciate that.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, we talk about, I mean, and you obviously know this. We talk about the whole balancing of time. Almost every episode, it seems to come up. We're really hoping you would have that figured out for us.
Right. True.
Like
No,
we're in the show 49, and we still haven't found someone who can answer that question for us.
I don't know if you caught my comment earlier. I'm in island time.
Oh.
Island time is you plan something and expect it not to happen because you're doing something different.
Oh, well, Paopao, we very much appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us. We have a few other things that we need to clear up, as you mentioned. Do you have time to stick around, or you need to go home?
I sure do. I have time.
All right, so we're going to do the app or site, Twitter follow you've got, and coming event. You stole mine, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So, Brent, you're up with the app or site of the week.
Okay, so I haven't vetted this very far, but a colleague that I work with shared it today. We had our as we call it, cross-district PD day today for our staff, so our kids were home. And I worked with our LMS, and we call them LTI as well. But anyway, so the folks out of our media centers on days like today. And so she shared a site called webcamera.io for video recording, and just kind of gave a brief demo. And so I just wanted to share it. I have not vetted it much, but she tested it out. She learned it at Ed Camp Liberty this Saturday, and was sharing it to that group. So I'm going to go ahead and share it out here today on the podcast. Webcamera, all spelled together, .io.
Nice. Paopao, what's a good app or website that we need to know about?
I just started using Google Keep. And I know that's been out for a while, but Google Keep, I'm Jill, if you're at home and you're listening to me, the millions of people, worldwide are listening to me as well. They want you to use Google Keep for our shopping list.
I'm going to guess that's probably not the first time we've had someone call out their wife on the show, but that was a good one. Well played.
That webcamera.io, that looks to be an extension.
Is it?
That's pretty cool. Yeah. It's a Google app. It's a Chrome app, actually. I'm sorry. Yep, it's a Chrome app.
You may have said that and I didn't catch it. So I mentioned that I hadn't vetted it myself, but it looks pretty cool for that stuff. So I don't typically roll that way, but since I got thrust into the app/site portion of the show, since Josh had to take the coming event.
No. Now, let's be clear. I was going to mention this. I did not set this up this way. This happened.
I'm guilty.
It goes right in order.
Well, I noticed you planted Paopao, too, who's going to take an 8-hour trip across the state to get to Ed.
Let's just say everything's lined up very well right now. All right, let's move on. Twitter follow, Devin.
Let's go off the board a bit with my Twitter follow tonight, and I'll share a Twitter handle. Nate Silver from the 538 blog shares all kinds of just interesting, fascinating statistical information. Right now, it's a lot about politics, but it shared a lot about sports. There's a great, I think, on the front page of ESPN right now. There's from their blog. An interactive look at every round of the NCAA tournament and percentages of teams getting through to the next round, and percentages of teams getting to every round. So round of 32, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, Championship, and just shares all kinds of fascinating stuff. And the 538 blog, spelled out 538.com, is a really fascinating place to go read too. So not necessarily educational in nature tonight, but a really interesting follow. Nate Silver 538.
All right. Speaking of Twitter, we just had a tweet favorited by at Jill Paopao.
Ooh.
So that's just a little warning for you on your way home tonight.
Yeah. I gotta check my messages now.
I bet there's a. I would love it if there was a note in Google Keep. Okay, well, since you guys mentioned it, Ed Camp Omaha happens to be this weekend, of which I am one of the organizers. It is the 6th annual Ed Camp Omaha. We are excited to be back at the Community Engagement Center on UNO's campus. We had a good number of people register this week. We're getting close to 200 registrations, which is good. Have to give a shout out to Strive TV, EdCamp Foundation, Common Sense Media / Graphite, and NETA for buying lunch and breakfast and coffee, and it's going to be a good time. It is a little bit bittersweet. Paopao, I don't think you and I have talked about this. This is going to be my last Ed Camp Omaha as far as organizing goes. It will carry on. We've got some great people lined up to take over everything, but it just kind of is at that time where it needs some new ideas, and I think it needs someone else to run it for a little bit. So a little bittersweet, excited for the new group to see what they come up with, and looking forward to this weekend. So
Awesome.
Yep, Omaha. Yep. All right, moving into the last segment, our district spotlight. Paopao will give you a second to think about this, but we need to find a person in our district to give a quick shout out to. Devin, we'll start with Council Bluffs.
Yeah, sure. I'll start with my district spotlight is Kelly Dufek. It's at K Dufek, K-D-U-F-F-E-K. Kelly does elementary technology coach / assistive technology. And she does all kinds of great things with our teachers, and especially in assistive tech, where there are so many needs and probably not enough folks to help out with that. And she just does an amazing job of helping our teachers there.
Nice. I just put mine out on the hashtag. LCL Nielsen is Lori Nielsen. She is our speech coach, speech teacher, does just a wide range of very cool things with the kids. She's been hogging my green screen for the last couple months now. She actually got a wall painted in her room green now, so they've been doing a lot of video recording. It has just been hilarious to watch, and we have quite a few kids going to Allstate. She was tweeting pictures about it today. So LCL Nielsen, Nielsen, for those of you not near Twitter. So Brent, and then we'll get Paopau's up there in Chadron.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a young man by the name of Kevin Lathram. On Twitter, he is at Lathram, spelled L-A-T-H-R-O-M, and the number 3. He is currently an assistant superintendent at our 6th grade building, but will be taking over an elementary school called 3 Trails. And it's going to be a building we're going to go one-to-one with, and we are putting significant investment in it from a physical standpoint, furniture standpoint, and technology. And so it's going to be a really interesting journey, and so I'm excited to work with him on that, and I've been supporting him already, and so I just want to shout him out. I think he's going to do an outstanding job, and looking forward to working with him at 3 Trails next year.
Wonderful. Paopao, who is someone up in Chadron that we need to make sure we're following?
You know, my district spotlight shout out goes to our new Chadron primary principal. You know, that's grades K through 2. And that's Libby Ewing, at Libby Ewing, U-H-I-N-G. She's just one of those, you know, thoroughbreds that I've talked about. You know, she's very proactive, always wanting to do great things with her students, always challenging the status quo, you know, making sure that, that she's not doing the same thing over and over. We all know that, you know, repetition is good for learning a lot of things, but when you do it over and over and over again, you're never really increasing your productivity. So Libby Ewing would be my pick in regards to our district spotlight. Thank you very much, guys.
Awesome. And I just retweeted what you put on there. So, all right, we have come to the end of episode 49. That means in 2 weeks we will have episode 50, the same year that the Super Bowl had their 50th. So, not really any correlation between those two.
I was going to ask, did you guys plan it that way?
Yeah, well, no. Yeah. In 2013, when we started having discussions about a podcast, we thought, how can we time this up? We got to take enough breaks in the summertime so that we can have 50 the same year that the Super Bowl does 50. How we roll. We will check back and make sure that all of our locks are still there for the Final Four, and we will see everyone in 2 weeks. Pow pow. Thank you so much, my friend. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
All right, my man.
Thanks.
You guys have a good evening. Take care, guys.